98.3 FM and 1340 AM KIHR and GorgeRadio.com presents the Mid-Columbia Today Show with Mark Bailey. Special thanks to our sponsors, Skyline Hospital, Eastside Paving, and Del Carpine Automotive. Now, here's Mark Bailey.
Good morning. It is 8:05. It is a Friday, happily. I'm Mark Bailey. Cameron Iversenberg is producing and facing all the challenges that go along with it right now. Here's what we're scheduled to do today, and based on what was going on in the studio, you can correct me if I'm wrong. First half of the show, Lori Zoller, Klickitat County Commission candidate, is going to be here or on the phone. I have no idea which. On the phone. Thank you. You helped me out there. I couldn't tell what was going on. Second half, Columbia Gorge Discovery Center Museum Registrar Susan Buse and Marketing Director Kat St. John will be in the studio. So all that is coming up on this program over the course of the next 55 minutes or so. Hopefully you're going to have a good day and a good weekend ahead. It's funny. I almost feel like today I shouldn't be working for some reason. I mean, it's Friday. It's a day where my show has been on Fridays for years before I hosted this show, and that's dating back a ways. Most of you can't remember that. I barely can remember that. But, I don't know, it's just something odd. I think it's because my wife had to go to town. She's been dealing with a family health issue. And so she left last night. And when that happens, it feels like it should be the weekend right then for me. It's just me in the house. I sat around and watched the ball game and, just try to figure out, try to be useful in some way. And that was hard to do. Anyway, let's take a look at what this day has meant and what it means, at least to some people. 1509, theologian John Calvin, a key figure of the Protestant Reformation, was born in France. 1890, Wyoming was admitted as the 44th state in the U.S. 1925, jury selection began in Dayton, Tennessee, in the trial of John T. Scopes, charged with violating the law by teaching Darwin's theory of evolution. Scopes was convicted and fined, but the verdict was overturned on a technicality. 1929, American paper currency was reduced in size, so the government began issuing bills that were approximately 25% smaller. July 10, 1940, during World War II, the Battle of Britain began as the German Luftwaffe launched attacks in southern England. The Royal Air Force was ultimately victorious. 1951, armistice talks aimed at ending the Korean War began at Kaesong. 1962, the first active communications satellite, Telstar 1, was launched by NASA. We're kind of coming, by the way, toward a full circle here. Because more and more satellites are not being used as much, at least in our business. In fact, our group of stations here, making changes here by the middle of next week. 95% of what we do programming-wise we'll only have about 3 shows left that come in via satellite. Everything else will be coming in via the internet, or we're doing live, one of the two. 1985, the Greenpeace protest ship Rainbow Warrior was sunk with explosives in Auckland, New Zealand by French intelligence agents. One activist was killed. 1991, Boris Yeltsin took the oath of office as the first elected president of the Russian Republic. Also on this day in 1991, President George H.W. Bush lifted economic sanctions against Africa. And in 2002, the U.S. House approved a measure to allow airline pilots to carry guns in the cockpit to defend their planes against terrorists. President George W. Bush would later sign the measure into law. Our days for today, it is Collector Car Appreciation Day today. That'd be for my dad. He's the car collector in my family. Now, this one you really should practice every day, and for pretty good reason. It's Don't Step on a Bee Day today. Because A, it'll hurt, possibly, assuming you get stung. And B, I will also throw in, we need to preserve our bees. They're very important in our ecosystem. So just don't step on a bee. It is a teddy bear picnic day today. So if you got a teddy bear, Take it on a picnic today. It'll appreciate it. It's also National Kitten Day today. Now, admittedly, as you know on this show, I'm a dog person. I get it. I've got a puppy right now. But I like cats, too. I don't have... I would not get a cat, but I have nothing against them. And I think they're wonderful. So, especially when they're kittens. So, National Kitten Day today. Food and drink today. First of all, I'm going to put a song in your brain if you are of a certain age, and I'm sorry because it's just a dreadful song as far as I'm concerned. It's National Pina Colada Day today. And it's Cameron knows it. He's much younger, and I'm sorry. It's just a horrid song. Horrid, horrid, horrid. And what it's about is also just terrible, by the way. It's about a couple looking to cheat on each other, and apparently the dating service essentially matches them up with each other. Or the personal ads, actually. It wasn't a dating service at the time. And they find each other, and supposedly that's a happy ending. Sure. But it's a horrible song. And finally, it's World Kebab Day today. Which actually, I'm home. I'll be doing grilling this weekend. Maybe I'll make a kebab or two. But to me, it is a little bit of work to do those, but not too much. So there you go for what it's worth. May not be a whole lot, and I don't like that song. I just don't like it. Anyway, moving on, because we've got more important things to talk about, particularly talk to a Klickitat County Commission candidate. Incumbent Lori Zollers coming up next.
Looking to level up your fitness game? The Power Station in Hood River is your one-stop spot for strength, sweat, and now indoor pickleball. Yup, is it too hot, too cold, too windy, or crowded? The Power Station has a state-of-the-art indoor pickleball court, perfect for all-weather play, lessons, training, and play with your group. Whether you're crushing weights or dinking at the net, the Power Station keeps you moving strong. Learn more and book your court time now at powerstationhr.com, where Hood River trains and plays.
The versatile Kubota B-Series is a do-it-all tractor. Run powerful attachments that can be easily switched out. It features a hydrostatic transmission and is simple to maintain. The Kubota B-Series, the #1 selling compact tractor in the U.S. Talk to your local Kubota dealer today to schedule a demo.
See Shepherd's 440 Riverside Drive, Hood River, your Kubota dealer.
Hey, have you noticed all the new eye-catching business signs, banners, and logos all over the gorge?
Rage Graphics with an X and design.
Get the word out! Yeah, good. That's the point.
Rage Graphics and Design. For sign design, 3-dimensional carved signs, banners, embroidery.
So the other day, I asked this guy, hey, are you staring at me? He said, no, I'm staring at your logo.
With Rage Graphics and Design, they'll stare at you, too.
217 East 3rd Street in the Dalles. Call 296-SIGN. Online at ragegraphicswithanx.com.
Get the word out.
Did you know Skyline Health in White Salmon has its very own sports medicine doc superstar? That's right, Dr. Ryan Petering trained at OHSU, cared for professional Nike athletes, and even spent more than 15 years teaching other doctors how it's done. From sporting injuries to arthritis, he's here to help you move better, feel stronger, and keep doing the things you love. Want to live life to its fullest? Step right up and visit myskylinehealth.org. Skyline Health, world-class care right here at home.
Mid-Columbia Today is a public affairs program of Bicoastal Media, Columbia River, 98.3 FM and 1340 AM KIHR and GorgeRadio.com. Now, back to Mark Bailey.
8:13 in the morning on Mid-Columbia Today. We continue on the election trail because Klickitat County has got a primary coming up here in just a few weeks. And we've been talking Klickitat County Sheriff and Commission candidates. We've got Klickitat County Commission incumbent Lori Zoller on the phone right now. Good morning, Lori.
Good morning, Mark. Good to talk to you.
Good to have you with us, Lori. And let's talk about, first of all, as we always do, with our candidates, even though you've been on this show plenty of times as the incumbent commissioner. But for those who might not be familiar, we always ask our candidates, first of all, just to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, great. Sure. Well, I grew up in a logging, cattle ranching family on the west side. And from that, we worked in the offices for the family as girls, learning accounting, and I went from there naturally to Department of Natural Resources as the timber sales clerk. and worked on the west side for several years as that capacity and trained as a forest practice clerk. So I got natural resource training there with stream typing and endangered species issues. Then moved to Trout Lake, Washington for a job similar at the Forest Service. And that's where I met my husband, Tracy, who was in the recreation industry. And that gave me an education in recreation, and together we have owned our recreational companies doing whitewater rafting and then eventually just drift boat fishing in a small resort for over 40 years. So I've lived in the county a long time and love all the people, love the county, love the gorge, and just wanted to always work in government. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed politics with my family, discussing everything that helped their industry. So I worked for the county in the Natural Resource Department early on in the salmon recovery fish enhancement programs that were handed down to the counties with unfunded mandate. And they had to set up several boards and begin watershed planning. So I was at the beginning of setting up the 6 boards that still exist today that help with watershed planning and fish recovery and also water rights. So I have an education background, fairly thick in natural resources. From there, I've worked on several projects for the county over the years. And then when David Sauter wanted to retire, he had a conversation with me, and I decided to run for his position. So I am essentially the new David Sauter that's been here for 4 years.
So why do you want to keep doing it?
Yeah, it is a terrible political climate. People are mean, and so many people base their decisions off of opinion. It's really hard now to find facts and get the true facts. You really have to work at it to make sure that you've based your decision on something correct. So it has not been easy. Politically, it's not been easy. It's not been an easy job. And we also had kind of a downslide at the county. I want to say, we hit those COVID years and things became so disoriented and dysfunctioned. And then we went into a phase at the county where there were different ideas with the then seated commissioners about working order, about chain of command, about who the commissioners really were and what they did, respectability. And so when I came into that position, I really wanted to bring back civility and respectability to the county commission. With our new board, we've accomplished that. We all work well together. We work well with the public. Not that we don't have disagreements, but we're able to work them through in a proper manner. So I think we've accomplished that. We also, during my tenure, we've pulled out a lot of the things that had went by the wayside. The comprehensive plan was lacking. We have that moving. We had a budget that needed some readjustment. So together with this board, we've made a decision to do a budget stay for 3 years. We're not cutting anything. We're not losing employees, but we're holding the line. And we're looking carefully at every issue, carefully at filling positions so that we don't get ourselves into a budget slide to where we have a problem 3 years from now. Part of the reason for that is the downturn in the state budgets. We have to be very careful because day to day we don't know what the state will cut. And so we have to maintain and keep providing good services to the people. So part of the reason I wanted to run was hopefully to turn that corner with the public now. Be a better board of county commissioners, be good with the people, represent the people well, supply the items that they need, hold our line as the budget, and then make sure the projects that we've started, that I can see those through. And I'd hate to leave our board right now. We're working really well together towards all those items.
So what do you think right now is the biggest issue that faces the county? Is it the budget issue?
Yes, because the budget drives everything. We might be on track for doing good planning. We've done efficiencies within the county. We're combining departments and getting that off the ground. We're transitioning in the way we run the county. We're transitioning we supply services to the communities. But if we don't have that budget, we have nothing. So yes, all the while holding the line on that budget, but then also diversifying, looking for new ways for economic development. And we've ramped up our economic development department and have them moving towards what does that look like. We kind of, I feel like, put our eggs in one basket depending on Republic Services. And as that transition and the budgets got smaller, we, as a county, looked at just green energy. That big hit of things was what they were looking for. This board is interested in the bigger items, but they'll naturally come. They'll seek us out. We have particular parcels of land that connect to those energy grids, so it's going to be obvious they're going to ask to use those with the water resources that are available there. So we need to focus on smaller issues. We need to help our port develop, bring in more businesses, more jobs. I have a desire to see something in every community. I'd like to see cottage industries and small industries, not to overwhelm each community like Trout Lake or Klickitat, but to give just a base within those communities. I think Trout Lake's a very good example because they have their dairies, and from that it's spun off, and now they have one of the dairies with byproducts. They're making cheese, they're selling cheese, and that's becoming very interesting, not only to tourism, but also local markets. And if each community could kind of brand themselves and find something that gives just a few jobs but increases their community, I think that's a good thing.
Part, of course, the economic development centers is, and you kind of alluded to this with talking about the properties and energy grids, is data centers, which I will note you did talk about as a commission on Tuesday a bit on your program. There have been rumors floating around about potential data center locations in the county, and certainly it's not a surprise given what's around the county and the eastern parts of Washington, Oregon, and other locations that have these. What do you feel like the county needs to do, or perhaps, based on the conversation Tuesday, you feel maybe already has been done for the county to be prepared to deal with all the questions that data center location could bring?
Education, totally education about what data centers really are. Even the state and the federal government have moved them out of the green energy category where they started. And just understanding the intent of data centers. A lot of the people that are calling me are afraid. They're afraid of environmental consequences and the overuse of water. And that's prudent, but they have to understand also the evolution of technology. Data centers are not something new. In the 1940s, they were started actually by the U.S. military, and they needed to capture information, started creating computer ways to do that. And then transitioning, they moved into IBM and to the Bell Corporation in the 1940s and 50s. And then later on, you saw that those huge boxes that we called computers at one time became our personal computers in the 1980s and 1990s. And then everybody had one. Everybody had a computer. Everybody has a cell phone. And what that did was every time you open your phone, every time you open your laptop or computer, you're connecting to a server. And those servers have to collect massive data so they can deliver it to you. So in a way, society is kind of the guilty party of building these data centers up and up and up. I think a lot of people hear we can't compete with China, we've got to we will be behind. They have to understand what that means. That's in saving data for your education. So those are coming because we have to use those.
So I guess then, as a county, how do you begin to, prepare for that reality, and at the same time, ensure that these data, I think a lot of the fear is, frankly, power rates for people. And we've seen Oregon in particular begin to start to to move in that area. PG just came up with a plan that got approved by the Oregon PUC that 30% power rate increase on the data centers to ensure that their demands aren't putting a financial burden on the average person.
Yes, and I heard that, and I was glad. I've kind of seen that Oregon and Washington mimic each other on some of the things they move forward. So I was glad to see Oregon do that, wanting to connect with our legislators in the state to say, hey, are we moving that way too? That's something we need to really capture and be conscious of. I think evolution of the data centers from the big boxes to the small computers and now to these servers, the gigantic servers, they've evolved as well. Just like Google went in over 20 years ago in the Dalles with that open system that creates all the steam. They've changed that. They've came into the new future. They're building the data centers now with more government requirements not to do those type of things. A closed loop where they charge it with water and then it's circulating and causing an efficiency of using the water, so we're not in the future destroying our water rights. And then environmentally, letting that steam out, heating water, having to cool it to put back in the river, that's being dealt with too at the government level with environmental regulations and also permitting. And I think that's where we come in. The data centers in our county now are just a proposal. Yes, they're generating paperwork, they're looking at engineering, they're looking at what their building would look like and how to function. But what that does is move them into where we can work with them once they hit our level. And of course, when they're dreaming of the data center, they're looking at all of what they have to do, what they don't have to do, and can they afford this? Is it feasible to place something here? And they have to meet the government intents just to get the government permits. They get to the county and they lay an application down. That's when we can actually start working with them. And so we're having conversations about what does community benefit development agreements look like? What does our taxing system look like? And of course that's driven by Washington State, but that improved recently because the state moved them out of that green energy section that disallowed them some of the perks that the green energy got. We had thought that, well, they might pack up camp and go to Oregon because of that, but now Oregon passed what they passed, so now they have to deal with, well, does it make more sense to stay in Klickitat County or should we move over to Oregon for cost? So it's a very big subject, very big.
Want to get into a couple other issues here, and we only got about 5 or 6 minutes left here, so I'm going to rapid fire this a little bit here. Public safety, and this gets, of course, to the sheriff's office and gets to, trying to balance staffing and budgeting, which I'm talking about with all 6 candidates in these 2 races, both the sheriff's and county commission in this case. Where would you like to see the county go in balancing those 2 subjects? Because certainly it's everybody wants to see complete 24/7 coverage, but also everybody wants to keep the to keep their taxes down as well.
Yeah, and budgets have evolved at the county. We're handling them in a different way. We're talking to our departments. We're not just saying a status quo budget, rubber stamping it, and then you've got to stay within it. And we're also being very cautious not to say, oh, well, it looks as though we have a downside, so let's give you a cut. Everybody across the board take a cut. That made no sense to me because it leaves people in a hole for how they're going to provide those services. So we actually are going to spend a lot of time discussing items with the departments. We're asking them to come in with a status quo budget, but then also adding what's called a budget memo. What do you need, and how do we get there in the future so we can have those hard discussions? Within the sheriff's department, I can tell you, in a transition, a new administration will be able to look at efficiencies. How can they realign their budget? What can they do to create efficiencies so maybe they can help fund a new position? Looking back in time on the budgets before I came on scene, there was open availability for 2 more officers within the sheriff's budget, but they did not fill those. And it was a several reasons. They had budget crunch, so they moved numbers and put money other places rather than hiring employees. And the other one was when you do hire an employee, it's very hard to get someone to want to work in Klickitat County. We find that across the board. Our remote location, and especially in Goldendale, there isn't a lot of amenities for a newer couple or a new person to move into the Goldendale area and want to live in that setting. A lot of the younger generation wants to be in Portland with all the amenities. So finding an employee is hard. But yes, I think with new administration and building a brand new budget of what does that department look like, starting from the bottom up, and what do we need to provide, and then seeing status quo budget, how does that fit, and then having that conversation with the commissioners, how can we increase this if we need to. And that is on our radar. We do know that that department needs probably an increase in budget.
I just got time for one more question here. So it gets to something that you talked about earlier, and that was about getting information to people. And this gets to transparency and communication with the residents of Klickitat County. And given, there is a reality in Klickitat County that, a lot of the media sources that come into you are on the Oregon side and tend to skew, and also myself in here, Hood River and Wasco counties. So it becomes a little difficult. What do you feel like as a commission, as a county, you can do to try to communicate what is going on at the county level in a better manner?
Well, another reason why I'd like to run again for another 4 years, I couldn't get everything done that I wanted to do. There was so much catch-up work to do, and then also the work that we need to do every day. It's been very, very hard to get everything done. I work on the run. It is not a part-time job, but like the state statute says, that's antiquated, that needs to be changed. One of the things that I would have liked to brought in was to do every 2 weeks or every month at least a notice from the chairman of the commission or from the board itself chipping in a report to media stations and newspapers from the desk of the county commissioners, here's what's going on. And I think facts and figures are incredibly important. Bringing respectability back to the board, that it's a board that you can trust that the information you're getting from them is correct. I'm a data-driven person, and that's what we need to give the public, and we can say you can find that on page 6 of the budget. We've had a lot of controversy, as you know, in Klickitat County. 90% of it was misinformation and misnomers. 90% of it is people misquoting law, and they're not attorneys, and it becomes a telephone game. And that has to stop. We have to bring that back, knowing that if you get it from the county commissioners, it's the truth, and that's where that's from and where it's going, rather than it filters out on the street and then everybody's in an uproar. It causes a lot of work for our county departments and a lot of work for the commissioners spending time just unwiring misinformation.
Lori Zoller is running for Klickitat County re-election. Lori, we've just kind of hit the wall on time here, so we've got to take a break here and stop. But thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. We will talk to you again down the road.
Okay, I appreciate you, Mark. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Lori. It's 8:33 in the morning. We'll have a quick news update coming up next.
Want a stunning new kitchen without the cost and time needed for a full remodel? Start with a simple upgrade that makes a big impact. New quartz countertops by Cambria from Adams Design Center. Made in America, Cambria is durable, non-absorbent, and maintenance-free. No sealing, polishing, or conditioning required. Spills? Just wipe them up with just soap and water with no staining. Transform your kitchen into the heart of your home. Visit Adams Design Center on 2nd Street in the Dalles and explore the beauty of Cambria today.
Looking for high-quality prints without the high price? At Bonds Printing, we make it easy and affordable to get the copies and digital prints you need. From black and white documents to vibrant full-color prints, we deliver fast turnaround and unbeatable value. Need flyers, reports, or presentations? We've got you covered without breaking your budget. Come see why more people are choosing Bonds Printing for reliable service, great prints, even better prices. Bonds Printing, 308 Union, The Dalles.
Coffee for Mid-Columbia Today guests is provided by Hood River Coffee Roasters, the gorgeous local coffee roasters, on Tucker Road on the Heights in Hood River.
8:35 in the morning in Mid-Columbia today. Quick check of the news here. Klickitat County Commissioners this week talked about data centers, whether the county is prepared for expected applications. In 2023, the County Planning Commission issued an interpretation of the county's land use code, indicating data centers were allowable on land zoned for industrial park districts, but anywhere else would require a conditional use permit. Both Commission Chair Ron Eyrig and Commissioner Lori Zoller pointed out the Planning Commission interpretation was based on state law, and there would be environmental review requirements regardless of location. There are no applications for data centers before the county at this point. Marion County Sheriff's Office says the search continues for 68-year-old John D. Nelson, who was reported overdue after a hiking trip in the Mount Jefferson Wilderness. Nelson and his longtime hiking partner, more than 40 years, began their trip from the Whitewater Trailhead on Monday and camped overnight at Russell Lake. Tuesday morning, Nelson left Russell Lake alone. When he failed to return as expected, he was reported overdue at about noon that day. Tribal fishing access sites along the Columbia River will be getting needed upgrades and repairs based on the findings of a new federal report. The U.S. Government Accountability Office found some infrastructure, including docks and fish cleaning stations, at 31 fishing access sites along the river is breaking down. And 3 weeks remain to apply for the City of the Dalles Residential Tree Grant Program. It provides support to residents within the Dalles city limits to enhance their properties with carefully selected trees. Applications available at thedalles.org. They're accepted through August 1st. Our current temperatures, it is 62 in Stevenson, 66 in the Dalles, 66 in Hood River, 8:37. We'll talk Columbia Gorge Discovery Center right after this.
When duty calls, we answer. From porta potties, RVs to septic tanks, Bishop Sanitation keeps the Columbia Gorge clean and fresh. Fast, friendly, and not afraid to get our hands dirty. So remember, it's potty time. Learn more at bishopsanitation.com and let us do the dirty work for you.
Want to stay in shape, be involved in a sport you love, and earn money in the process? Become an athletic official. There's a shortage of officials in Oregon, and we need you now more than ever. Visit osaa.org/officials for more information and to get registered.
Hey, it's Zach from Del Carpino Automotive, where we specialize in keeping European rides happy. Audi, BMW, Mercedes, and even those tall Sprinter vans that look like hotels on wheels. We know them inside and out. And if you're wondering where we went, we didn't go far. We're just now 5 minutes from our old shop in our brand new location in the Upper Hood River. Same trusted crew, more space, and the same honest, family-owned service. Come see us at Del Carpino Automotive. European expertise and Columbia Gorge roots.
Mid-Columbia Today is a public affairs program of Bicoastal Media Columbia River, 98.3 FM and 1340 AM KIHR and GorgeRadio.com. Now, back to Mark Bailey.
And it is now 8:40 in the morning on Mid-Columbia Today. We're going to talk Columbia Gorge Discovery Center in the Dalles. We have with us now Museum Registrar Susan Buse and the new marketing Director, Kat St. John. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming in. Appreciate it. I'll get Kat's mic a little bit pointed there a little better. I'm going to talk to Susan a lot here, obviously, because you've got a project that you're... I don't know if you wrap up a project like this because of what it is, but you've got photo archives that you've been putting out together.
We have our photo archives online, and that has been a year working on that project to migrate them from what we do locally in the museum to get them out there so that the public can review them and enjoy them and do research for themselves.
So what kind of images are we talking about here? Does it, I assume, kind of reflect a whole lot of Gorge life?
We have images from the mid-1800s through modern days. We've got a huge collection of photos that were donated by the Dalles Chronicle before they went digital with their cameras. So we've got the negatives from many decades of use at the Chronicle. We have the Wasco County Pioneer Association collection, and we've just got multiple pictures that have been given to us over the years through a process the Swedish call death cleaning, which is when when somebody is given the task of cleaning out the estate of their deceased relative, their grandparents, their aunt, their uncle, and they have all these photos that they know are historic, and they know that the person had that connection with the Dalles or Wasco County or the Columbia Gorge, and we get gifted those photos and Sometimes they're identified as to who's in it. Sometimes they're not. But we do our best to put identifications on them. And then we add that description to our data. And those are all online now. The photo collection we've had that's been scanned and cataloged is roughly 31,000 photos. And this has been a really massive effort over the last year to get these online. And we're very grateful to be able to announce that and, help people who have queries about, maybe genealogical researchers or city or county employees come to us wanting pictures of properties. It's all sorts of things.
Now, I assume when we're dealing with photos, especially the older the photo is, or the image is, I'm saying photo, I'm being fairly generic here. I am assuming that when you do that, it's not like we might take a photo today if we had a printed one that's fairly modern, throw it on the scanner, scan it onto the computer, and you're done with it. I assume there had to be some handling that was fairly special for this. Yes.
We've got print photos. We've got negatives, a lot of negatives that came into us from Celilo Falls from the Gladys Seufert collection. And we have various different methods that we use to, the scanning process is the same, but the way you do the scanning changes between a positive film image like a slide or a negative image. And so it takes a level of expertise to work with all these images, get them scanned and get them cataloged and ready to go online.
Yeah, I know you've been involved in charting the history of the region for a long time. Were there any photos, as you came across these, that stood out to you?
Oh, we have so many of them. And it was funny because when we got the donation from the Dalles Chronicle, that came in 2018, one of the first negatives that I scanned was my aunt, who had been a war bride back in the 40s or 50s when she first came from Denmark to the Dalles, and I looked and I went, well, that's Aunt Anita. So it's funny when you look at photos like that, and it just triggers all the memories when you're going through those. And one of the things that is really important for people to take a look at their own photo collection, make sure that, as best you know, put the name of the person on the back of the photo, the year, and the location. Because if that collection ever goes to somebody like us, we have no way of knowing that. And having those photos identified is just a real treasure to be able to pass the information on to other people.
5,000 photos will also came. You kind of got another collection that got added into this project.
That's right. It was one of the things that, as we were approaching the end of our grant cycle that we were working on, we realized we had the time and the funds left in the grant to be able to get the Oregon Trail inscription database and photos online. We've got well over 5,000 photos that were taken by Jim Henderson of White Salmon. He spent 5 years working on a grant from the National Park Service through a special program, the Challenge Program. He followed along the Oregon Trail and took cross-polarization photography using that technique to take pictures of the inscriptions left along the Oregon Trail. Back during the time of the Great Migration of the Oregon Trail, there weren't a lot of road maps or 7-Elevens you could stop by.
I bet there are no Slurpees then.
Yeah, no Slurpees. And so people would come to these big rock cliffs and scratch in their name and the year that they're passing, or maybe just their initials. The problem with time is that erosion will take its toll on things like that. Jim told me that, some of the lower inscriptions, cows would come up and scratch their head on it and rub the sandstone off the cliff. So what Jim did was photograph these inscriptions along the Oregon Trail, a huge number of them from Wyoming that were left on Ames Hill and Register Cliff and places like that. But they are preserved for research, for people looking for evidence. There are some inscriptions from Kit Carson and John Fremont that came through.
Really?
And so we are the only museum in the country that has this specific database collection. And Jim was really interested that it may be made available to the public. And so that was a happy circumstance that we were able to add that into the photo archive project we'd been working on.
I don't know if we mentioned this yet, but you may have, I just missed it, but this got paid for, especially the 30,000 photos, the initial part of this project. City of the Dalles provided a grant for this.
City of the Dalles wrote the grant, and in part, it was part of the collective vision of increasing tourism. It was interesting because the day I applied for the grant, we had a request from the tourism travel writer for the Oregonian for pictures of historic buildings in the Dalles that she was writing a feature on. So right now I'm working on doing research for a real estate agent who is listing a historic farmhouse. We've constantly get requests from people all across the country that maybe they're looking for family photos and they want to come visit the Dalles and see the places that family lived in. And so it's really gratifying to be able to provide these online so they can see for themselves what we've got and then come to me for more specific research.
And people can go look at this. It's just, I think it's on the website, is it not, for the Discovery Center?
Our website is gorgediscovery.org.
Wow.
And there's a drop-down menu under the research tab, and it will take you right to the historic photo archives or the Oregon Trail inscription archives.
A lot of people are going to do that because it's just interesting just to browse through things like this.
Oh, yeah. And we've got it set up so you can do a search based on description. Now, I have to remind people that our museum opened in 1997. Next year's our 30-year anniversary. In 1997, the internet wasn't as popular of a tool as it is today.
I've noted that, yeah.
And so some of our early volunteers wrote very brief descriptions in the photos. I've run into photos of the downtown area and the Dalles that were just described as downtown. And so to put the words in the description, you have to use the keywords that you can think of that would be most relevant. A lot of photos were initially identified by a person's first initial and their last name. So if you put in a family member's full name, it may not come up with a match. So be creative when you do your search based on the description, but it's a lot of fun, a lot of different ways you can look for photos, and we've got the ability to enlarge it so you can see a better view of it, and we've done a great, the project has been great. We've worked with a relatively local designer to do this. He's out of Lake Oswego, and it's not the first time we've had our photo archives online, but the company we worked with prior to this, there was a glitch in the program. The photo archives went down and they were never able to fix it. So it's been a long search to find somebody willing to work with us, and take this massive project underhand.
So again, go to gorgediscovery.org. You can check it out. Kat, I haven't had a chance to talk to you here. I only got a couple minutes left, so I'll just ask, what's coming up at the Discovery Center next few weeks?
For the next few weeks, we don't really have any events,
Okay.
but in October we are doing our auction. So
Okay.
that is something to keep in the back of your mind.
Mhm.
You can go on our website. We're going to be trying to keep it up to date with the events that will be happening within the center, so keep your eyes peeled for that.
Yeah. So that is coming up. Of course, gorgediscovery.org, and you're open every day, I believe.
We have a cafe now, and we are open for nature walks, so you don't have to pay for admission to come into the cafe Tuesday to Saturday. We also have a wonderful gift shop.
All right, so be sure to stop by in Columbia Gorge Discovery Center. I know where to exit. Exit 82, isn't it? Is that the exit number? I can't remember what the exit number is.
I'm horrible at exit numbers.
I know.
I'm a visual.
Yeah,
I'm a
well,
visual girl.
my problem is I've lived here too long. I know exactly where to go. If you're listening, you probably already know where to go. If you don't, well, you've got some device that will tell you. Columbia Gorge Discovery Center in the Dalles. Susan, I see you again here. It's been a while. And Kat, thanks for coming in. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
It's 8:54 in the morning. We will come back and wrap things up right after this.
Hey, Gorge neighbors, it's Angela from Cedar Creek Alpacas. You don't have to drive hours or spend a fortune on gas for a memorable summer adventure. Right here, just 15 minutes west of Hood River Bridge in Cook, Washington, you'll find cute baby alpacas, mountain views, and a peaceful farm experience the whole family will love. We're locally owned, close to home, and proud to have been voted best in the gorge for attraction and family entertainment. Come slow down, meet the herd, and make a day of it at Cedar Creek Alpacas in Cook, Washington. More at cedarcreekalpacas.com.
U-Cut is happening now at beautiful Hood River Lavender. Don't miss this year's early lavender season as the fields burst into bloom with vibrant color and the calming scent of lavender at its peak. Stroll the farm, cut your own bouquet, and browse handmade gifts and essential oils that capture the season. Then, just steps away, unwind at Stave and Stone Winery with award-winning wines, vineyard views, and the perfect summer afternoon. Come for the lavender, stay for the wine. Visit Hood River Lavender today.
Tune in weekday mornings at 8:05 and keep up with community events and issues with the Mid-Columbia Today Show on Mid-Columbia's news leaders, 98.3 FM and 1340 AM KIHR. Special thanks to our sponsors, Skyline Hospital, Eastside Paving, and Del Carpine Automotive.
Here's what's coming up on the show next week. On Monday, we'll talk Mid-Columbia Center for Living in Port of the Dalles. Tuesday, Hood River County, we're going to talk to Administrator Allison Williams. And we're going to talk emergency management. Katie Skakel, the new emergency management director, is going to join us as well. And we're going to talk Wasco County with Commissioner Scott Hagee on Tuesday. Wednesday, John Bruce, Klickitat County Sheriff's candidate. And we'll talk White Salmon Valley Schools with Rich Polkinghorn. Thursday, Gene Klajeski, Klickitat County Commission candidate, will join us. And on Friday, Dwayne Matulovich, another Klickitat County Sheriff's candidate, plus Marty Dane will join us as well. And Marty will host the show the following week because I will be away. Now, they say on assignment. That's not true. I'm going to be on vacation. I'm just going to be gone for a while. So anyway, that's what's coming up on MCT. If you want to check out different events, well, I'll be sure to go to our events page at gorgeradio.com, and you can find out what's going on in the area. Don't forget Traffic Jam Car Show and more is at the Western Antique Aeroplane Automobile Museum in Hood River tomorrow. Go to whammuseum.org for all the details on that. Also, Hood River Valley Leo's monthly bottle and can collection, 9 to noon at the southwest corner of the Rosars parking lot tomorrow. This month, raising funds for Fish Food Bank. Mid-Columbia Senior Center's got their bazaar tomorrow, 9 to 2 at the 1112 West 9th in the Dalles. Also, Wasco County Historical Society presentation with Jurgen Hess presenting landscaping with native plants. 11 o'clock in the morning on Saturday at the 1850 Moody Rorick House on 300 West 13th in the Dalles. Bring a lawn chair or blanket on which to sit. Admission is free. Donations are, of course, welcome. For Cameron Eisenberg producing, I'm Mark Bailey. Have a great weekend. Talk to you again on Monday.
The Mid-Columbia Today Show is a public affairs presentation of Bicoastal Media Columbia River. The views expressed on the program are not necessarily those of the station, parent company, or of the sponsors. We welcome your suggestions for future shows. Call us at 541-386-1511. Listen to Mid-Columbia Today where you want. Follow or subscribe to Mid-Columbia Today wherever you download your podcast to get the show delivered every day to your mobile device.